It's this really interesting idea, isn't it? That being genuinely nice
Yeah.
could actually be a secret weapon in business.
Mm-hmm.
Could focusing on people, on values, really lead to, big success? Maybe even, well, getting rich.
It's a powerful question, and the material you shared digs right into that.
Yeah, it's fascinating stuff. For this deep dive, we're looking at how some really successful companies seem to have cracked this code. They're prioritizing things way beyond just, the profit margin.
Absolutely. We're talking about what people often call firms of endearment,
Yeah.
foes.
Right, Foley's.
And these are companies, well, they're really built on a foundation of authentic care. It's about connecting with everyone involved, not just shareholders.
Exactly. And to really get into it, we're going to look at these 7 company superpowers. These are the key areas where these nice companies, well, they really shine.
Yeah, it's a great framework.
So we'll cover loving your employees, making customers love you, partnering like best friends, making investors happy too, caring for your community, building a super cool culture, and the big one maybe, having a bigger purpose than just money.
It ties it all together.
It might sound a bit, I don't know, idealistic, but there are some genuinely surprising facts and real strategies here. Okay, let's jump in. Superpower number 1, loving your employees.
Yeah, this is really fundamental. The core idea is simple but powerful. Companies that truly, genuinely value their employees, they see major advantages.
It just makes sense, doesn't it?
It
Intuitively.
does.
So when employees feel that value, what happens? What's the actual impact?
Well, the data keeps showing it. Happier employees are just, well, more engaged. They feel more connected to the work.
Right.
They're more likely to, go the extra mile. And that naturally boosts motivation, productivity. It's a virtuous cycle.
So better work gets done.
Definitely. And think about turnover. Companies that treat employees well, maybe pay them better, like, say, Trader Joe's. They see much lower turnover.
Oh, okay. Which saves money.
Exactly. Saves huge amounts on recruiting, on training. Money they can then invest elsewhere, like back into the employees or the product. It feeds itself.
Okay, so conversely, what's the real cost if a business doesn't value its people, if they neglect them?
Oh, the downsides are pretty significant. You often end up with a workforce that's just not engaged, less productive.
Which impacts the product, the
Oh.
service.
Directly. And maybe even worse long-term is high turnover. Losing experienced people costs a fortune.
Yeah, not just hiring costs, but losing that knowledge.
Precisely, that institutional memory, plus disruption. And these days, bad news travels fast.
Right. Online reviews, word of mouth.
Well, exactly. Treat people badly and your reputation suffers. Then it's harder to attract good talent later on. It snowballs.
So looking at the U.S. examples, how do these sort of nicer companies do it? What are the strategies?
Well, take Trader Joe's again. They're known for paying way above the typical retail wage. That's a clear signal, right?
We value you.
Exactly. Then there's the Container Store. They invest tons in employee training, much more than competitors.
So equipping them better.
Equipping them, building confidence, showing they're valued. And then you've got Southwest Airlines. They famously built this really fun, positive workplace.
Yeah, you hear about that.
And that clearly boosts morale. And, you feel it as a customer, too.
Yeah, definitely. It's such a contrast to the mistakes you sometimes see, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. You see companies trying to cut costs by just paying minimum wage, poor benefits.
Short-sighted.
Often, yes. Leads to unhappy, unmotivated staff, or skimping on training that just causes errors, frustration.
For everyone.
For everyone. And then just the atmosphere, a really stiff, unfriendly, maybe even toxic environment. That kills morale and productivity.
So the key takeaway then for anyone listening, thinking about their own business, how do you actually use this superpower?
It really boils down to genuinely valuing your people. Simple as that sounds.
How though? Like practically.
Recognize their work. Pay them fairly. Give them real chances to grow, to develop. And build a positive, supportive place where they feel, respected, appreciated.
Right. It reminds me of that, the lemonade stand idea. If your buddy helps you sell lemonade,
Yeah.
you'd share the profits, right? Say thanks properly. That makes them want to help again.
Exactly. Same idea, just bigger scale.
Okay, great. Let's move to superpower number 2 then. Making customers love you. Seems obvious, maybe. But how do these foes really nail this?
Right. It goes beyond just customer satisfaction. The core idea is cultivating genuine, customer affection that builds intense loyalty and really drives growth. It's about an emotional connection.
Okay, so tangible benefits. When customers actually love a company.
Well, the big one is loyalty, obviously. They keep coming back.
Repeat business.
Yeah. But it's more than that. Those happy, enthusiastic customers, they become your best marketers. Free advertising.
Word of mouth.
The most powerful kind. And another interesting thing, when customers feel that positive connection, they're often more forgiving if you mess up occasionally.
Ah, like a bank of goodwill.
Exactly. A really valuable asset.
And if a company gets this wrong, poor customer relations.
Well, it can be pretty damaging. You'll lose customers to competitors for sure. And these days, negative online reviews can spread like wildfire. Really hurt your
It
reputation.
makes it hard to attract new people.
Yeah, you end up constantly chasing new customers just to tread water, basically. Very inefficient.
So, what are some of the winning strategies here in the US? How do companies make customers fall in love?
Nordstrom is a classic example, right? Legendary service. They empower their staff to just solve problems, make things right.
Yeah, they really go the extra mile.
They do. Whole Foods Market is another one. They build trust through transparency, being open about where their food comes from, their practices.
Honesty builds trust.
It does. And then you've got Disney. They are absolute masters of creating experiences, memorable, positive experiences.
It's not just the ride, it's the whole feeling.
Exactly. The feeling, the memories, that creates a powerful bond.
And again, you see competitors making pretty clear mistakes here too.
Oh, definitely. Just ignoring customer complaints or handling them badly, that's a killer.
Guaranteed way to lose someone.
Absolutely. Or any kind of dishonesty, lack of transparency that destroys trust so quickly, and it's hard to get back.
Right.
And some companies just focus purely on the transaction, get the sale. They don't invest in building a relationship.
So customers feel like a number.
Pretty much. And then they're easily tempted away by someone who offers a better overall experience, not just a price.
Okay, so the takeaway for harnessing this superpower. What's the core advice for listeners?
It's really about making customers feel genuinely valued. Listen to them. What do they need?
Be helpful, friendly.
Consistently helpful, friendly, operate with total honesty, transparency, and just always aim to create positive interactions. Make it memorable in a good way.
Back to the lemonade stand.
Yeah.
It's not just good lemonade, is it?
No.
It's being polite, having a quality product, sure, but also that welcoming vibe that makes people choose your stand, even if there's another one nearby.
Perfect analogy. It's the whole package.
Okay, superpower number 3. Partnering like best friends. This shifts focus a bit, right? To suppliers, other partners. Why is this so important?
Yeah, it's another critical piece. These successful companies recognize how vital their partners are. The basic idea is that strong, collaborative relationships with suppliers, distributors, whoever, they're essential for things to run smoothly.
So quality inputs, efficient operations.
Exactly. It's a two-way street, a mutually beneficial thing.
What are the specific benefits then for the company itself when they treat partners like best friends?
Well, often you get access to better quality materials or resources because your partners are genuinely invested in your success too.
Right, they care more.
They do. Operations become more efficient, more reliable because there's trust. There's open communication.
Fewer glitches.
Fewer glitches. And importantly, these strong partnerships often lead to innovation. You collaborate, you solve problems together, you grow together.
Makes sense. And the downside if you neglect these partner relationships.
Oh, it can cause real problems. You might get stuck with lower quality supplies, which obviously impacts your end product.
Yeah.
You face a higher risk of delays, disruptions,
Right.
if partners aren't reliable or communicative.
Supply chain issues.
Big time. And just a lack of trust really hinders problem solving. You can't easily work through issues together if the relationship is strained.
So how do the good U.S. companies handle this? How do they approach partnerships?
Generally, these FOEs really prioritize fair dealing. They understand their suppliers need to be healthy businesses too.
It's not just squeezing them for price.
No. Look at Honda, for example. They're known for actively working with their suppliers, even helping them improve their own processes.
Wow, really? Investing in them.
Yeah, and the overall focus is definitely on building long-term, stable, reliable partnerships, not just constantly jumping to the cheapest option.
Which is exactly what some other companies do, right? That constant pressure for lower prices.
Exactly. Squeezing suppliers so hard it actually damages their business, that's not sustainable.
No.
Or just poor communication, not sharing information properly. That leads to mistakes, misunderstandings, costly ones,
Yeah.
and constantly switching suppliers just for a slightly lower price. You never build that deep trust, that collaborative spirit you get from a long-term partnership.
So the key takeaway here is about respect and fairness for partners. How does that translate to business success?
Treat your partners with the same kind of respect and fairness you show your employees and customers. Keep communication open, honest, build trust. Aim for that win-win.
It's about everyone benefiting.
Fundamentally, yes. Create a dynamic where both sides feel like they're getting value and are respected.
Like our lemonade stand, buying lemons from the neighbor. If you're reliable, polite, maybe even share a bit extra if you have a great day.
Yeah.
That builds loyalty. Ensures you always get the best lemons.
Perfect. Exactly right. Ensures that supply chain.
Okay. Superpower number 4. This one might feel counterintuitive to some. Making investors happy too. Isn't there sometimes a tension like being nice to everyone else costs money that could go to investors?
Yeah, that's a really common misconception. But the evidence, especially long-term, increasingly points the other way.
Oh, really?
Yeah. The core idea here is that taking care of all stakeholders, employees, customers, partners, community, actually benefits investors in the end. It's a holistic approach.
Okay, how does that work? How does caring for employees or the environment boost investor returns?
Well, historically, these firms of endearment have shown really strong long-term financial performance, often better than companies just focused narrowly on quarterly profits.
Interesting. Why do you think that is?
Investors are starting to see that companies with strong values focused on sustainability, they're actually less risky, more resilient.
Ah, okay. Built on a stronger foundation.
Exactly. A well-rounded approach creates a more stable and ultimately more profitable business over the long haul. Plus, things like ESG factors, environmental, social, governance, they're becoming huge for investors.
Right. Investors are looking at more than just the P&L sheet now.
They absolutely are. They see it correlates with lower risk and more sustainable growth, which aligns perfectly with the FOE philosophy.
So what are the dangers then of just chasing short-term investor gains above all else?
Well, you can make decisions that really hurt other stakeholders, cutting corners on quality, slashing benefits.
To inflate profits quickly.
Yeah, but that can seriously damage the company's reputation and long-term health, which ultimately hurts investors too down the line.
Trust erodes.
Trust erodes. If investors see employees or customers being treated badly, that's a red flag. And performance can get really volatile if you sacrifice that long-term stability for a quick buck.
So what strategies do these nicer companies use to keep investors happy while still doing good?
Transparency is huge. They tend to be really open with investors about strategy, challenges, the long-term vision.
No surprises.
Fewer surprises. They prioritize building sustainable long-term value, not just, artificially pumping the stock price short-term.
Right.
And they really emphasize their commitment to ethics, responsibility, and that resonates with a growing number of investors today.
And the missteps you see from companies maybe not getting this balance right.
Well, making decisions solely to boost the stock price short-term, even if it damages the company long-term, that's a big one. Lack of openness, hiding problems from investors, that breeds suspicion, instability.
Never ends well.
Rarely. And just generally ignoring the needs of employees, customers, the community in that relentless pursuit of profit that creates risks that eventually bite investors too.
So the takeaway for listeners here is really about showing investors that doing good is good for business, long term.
Precisely. Be transparent. Show them how caring for everyone builds a stronger, more valuable, more sustainable business that will deliver better returns over time. It's not charity. It's smart business.
Back to the lemonade stand again. Your parents invested in your sugar and lemons?
Yeah.
Showing them how your great service and yummy lemonade brings in steady profits. That's the best way to prove their investment was smart. They see the results of you being nice.
Exactly. It justifies their faith, their investment.
Makes total sense. Okay, let's move out a bit wider now. Superpower number 5. Caring for your community. This goes beyond just the immediate business circle, doesn't it?
It does. This is about the company's role in the wider world. The fundamental idea is that businesses have responsibility to the community, to the environment they operate in.
Being a good corporate citizen.
Exactly that. Engaged, responsible.
And what are the benefits for a company that really embraces this?
Well, it definitely boosts their public image, creates a lot of goodwill.
People like companies that do good things.
They do.
Yeah.
And it helps attract customers and employees who share those values. People want to be associated with responsible companies.
Right, a values alignment.
Yeah. And ultimately, by helping create a better social and environmental context, they're actually making a better world for their own business to thrive in, and for everyone else too.
And the downsides of neglecting this, ignoring the community or environment.
You risk serious negative PR, boycotts, brand damage. They can be really costly.
Hard to come back from that sometimes.
I agree, hard.
Yeah.
And it makes it tougher to attract good employees too. People increasingly care about the impact their employer has.
True.
And of course, there can be direct consequences too, like fines for environmental damage or community opposition.
So what are some good U.S. examples here? Companies doing this well.
Well, lots of FOEs support local charities, community projects. That's pretty common. Patagonia is a standout example for environmental commitment, right? It's core to their whole identity.
Yeah, it's not just marketing for them.
No, it's embedded. And then you have global companies like IKEA really trying to uphold ethical standards everywhere they operate, thinking about communities worldwide.
And the mistakes. What does neglecting the community look like?
Well, obviously, practices that harm the environment.
Yeah.
Often just to cut costs.
Short-term thinking again?
Often. Or just showing indifference to major social issues. That can really alienate people. And unfortunately, you still see examples of companies kind of exploiting local resources or communities without giving anything meaningful back.
So the takeaway for listeners on this one, how do you leverage caring for the community?
Think about the positive impact you can have. Beyond just your direct business, support local causes, maybe.
Be mindful of your footprint.
Absolutely, environmental footprint.
Yeah.
And just operate with integrity. Be a positive force.
A lemonade stand. Maybe this is just cleaning up the sidewalk afterwards.
Could be. Simple things matter.
Or maybe donating 10% of profits to the local animal shelter.
Yeah. Even small gestures show you care about more than just the money. It shapes how people see you.
Right. Okay, superpower number 6. Building a super cool culture. This brings us back inside the company, doesn't it? The internal vibe.
Exactly. This is all about the internal environment, the core idea. A positive, supportive culture is absolutely vital for employee satisfaction, productivity, long-term success.
It's like the company's internal brand.
That's a great way to put it. It attracts people who not only have the skills, but who also fit the values. And when you have that shared ethos, you get better teamwork, faster problem solving. The whole organization is just more resilient, especially when things get tough.
So what are the benefits of getting this culture right? Having that super cool vibe?
You just see more motivated people, more engaged, genuinely enthusiastic about the company's goals.
Less just showing up for the paycheck.
Way less. And a good culture naturally leads to better teamwork, smoother collaboration, people feel connected, supported.
Makes sense.
And companies known for having a great culture, they have a huge advantage in attracting top talent. It's a major draw.
Yeah, people talk about wanting to work there.
Exactly. And they stay longer, too.
And the flip side, a negative or worse, toxic culture.
Bro, it's destructive. You get unhappy, disengaged employees just phoning it in.
Productivity drops.
Absolutely. Communication breaks down. Trust evaporates. It can become really dysfunctional.
And people leave.
High turnover is almost guaranteed. People will actively look for somewhere better, somewhere they feel valued.
So how do the good U.S. companies build these great cultures? What are the strategies?
Well, many FOEs put a huge emphasis on their core values. Trust, care, respect, whatever they are. And they make them real, not just words on a wall.
Living the values.
Living them.
Yeah.
Then you have places like Google or Southwest again. They deliberately try to make work fun, engaging, even playful.
Reduces stress. Builds camaraderie.
Definitely. And a really common thread is encouraging open communication, asking for feedback, listening to it, acting on it, at all levels.
So employees feel heard.
Critically important.
And the common mistakes.
Yeah.
Cultural pitfalls.
Well, building a culture based on fear or intimidation, that's just terrible.
Kills creativity.
Kills creativity, kills morale. People are afraid to speak up or make mistakes. Also, having unclear values or values that aren't practiced. That just leads to confusion, inconsistency.
Hypocrisy.
Yeah, and just constantly ignoring or dismissing employee feedback. That sends a loud message. You don't matter. Very damaging.
Okay, so for someone listening, how do they build this super cool culture? Key elements.
Cultivate positivity, respect, make sure everyone feels valued, define your core values really clearly.
And promote teamwork, communication.
Promote teamwork, open communication, definitely. And just actively try to make it an enjoyable place to be, a fulfilling place to work.
Our lemonade stand. Maybe this is just being really friendly and thankful to anyone who helps out.
Yeah, making it fun. Collaborative, not just a chore.
Okay, makes sense. Finally, superpower number 7. Having a bigger purpose than just money. This feels like it ties everything together.
It really does. It's often the driving force behind the other 6. The core idea is that a compelling mission, something beyond just profit, that's incredibly motivating for employees, for customers.
It gives meaning to the work.
Exactly. It provides a clear, inspiring why. Why does this company exist? What good are we trying to do? It goes beyond just the financials.
And the benefits of having that clear, bigger purpose.
Well, it deeply inspires employees. They feel their work matters, has an impact.
More than just a job.
Much more. And it strongly attracts customers who resonate with that purpose. They want to align themselves with companies doing good things.
So loyalty again, but maybe deeper.
Deeper loyalty, yeah. And interestingly, a strong purpose can actually drive innovation. People are constantly thinking, how can we better achieve our mission?
Okay. It fuels creativity.
It can, yeah.
Yeah.
Pushing boundaries to serve that purpose.
And conversely, what if a company lacks that? Or its purpose feels fake?
Well, employees might just see it as transactional. Just clocking in, getting paid, no real connection.
Hard to get passionate about that.
Very hard. And the company might struggle to stand out. If you don't stand for something more, what makes you different?
Good point.
And you just miss huge opportunities to make a real difference and to build a much stronger, more resonant brand identity along the way.
So how do these purpose-driven U.S. companies operate? What do they do?
They work hard to articulate that mission clearly, something beyond profit. Think Whole Foods, again, promoting healthy eating. That's clear.
Right.
And they integrate it. It's not just a slogan. It's in their sourcing, their products, how they operate.
Patagonia and the environment is another great example.
Perfect example. It's woven into everything they do.
Yeah.
And they communicate it constantly, transparently, to staff, customers, everyone.
And the pitfalls here. When companies get purpose wrong.
Well, some just seem relentlessly focused only on profit, with little genuine regard for any broader impact.
Feels empty.
Can feel empty, yeah. Or you see mission statements that sound nice but are just vague. Or worse, insincere, not backed up by actions.
Greenwashing, that kind of thing.
Exactly. And just failing to connect with people, employees, customers on that deeper purpose level, that means you miss out on building real loyalty, real engagement.
So the final takeaway for listeners.
Yeah.
It's about finding your why, beyond just the money.
Yes. What problem are you really trying to solve? What positive change do you want to create? Define that. Articulate it.
And that gives direction.
Inspiration.
Provides invaluable direction, yes. And inspires everyone involved. Your team, your customers, your partners, even your investors, increasingly.
Or a lemonade stand. Maybe its purpose isn't just making $5. Maybe it's bringing a moment of refreshment and happiness to the neighbors on a hot day.
Exactly. That simple shift changes the whole feeling, doesn't it? For you and for your customers. It really does. Wow. Okay, so there we have it. The 7 company superpowers. It's really compelling, actually, seeing how these basic ideas, care, values, can be the foundation for businesses that are not just, ethical, but incredibly successful too, enduring.
These firms of endearment really do seem to offer a different model, a potentially more sustainable one.
Yeah, it challenges that old idea, doesn't it? That business has to be ruthless, cutthroat, only about maximizing profit right now.
It absolutely does. They show that by looking after all your stakeholders, thinking long-term, you can actually achieve greater, more lasting success.
It really makes you think. So for everyone listening, reflecting on this deep dive, here's a final thought. What's one specific nice thing you think a company could do that might seem small, but could have a surprisingly big positive impact on its success?
Interesting question.
And what does your answer tell you about where business might be heading? What the future looks like? Definitely something to chew on.
Good food for thought.
Well, thanks so much for diving deep with us today on this. We really hope these insights were valuable and gave you something new to think about.
It's this really interesting idea, isn't it? That being genuinely nice could actually be a secret weapon in business. Could focusing on people, on values, really lead to, big success? Maybe even, getting rich.
It's a powerful question, and the material you shared digs right into that.
Yeah, it's fascinating stuff. For this deep dive, we're looking at how some really successful companies seem to have cracked this code. They're prioritizing things way beyond just, the profit margin.
Absolutely. We're talking about what people often call firms of endearment, FOEs.
Right, FOEs.
And these are companies, they're really built on a foundation of authentic care. It's about connecting with everyone involved. not just shareholders.
Exactly. And to really get into it, we're going to look at these 7 company superpowers. These are the key areas where these nice companies, well, they really shine.
Yeah, it's a great framework.
So we'll cover loving your employees, making customers love you, partnering like best friends, making investors happy too, caring for your community, building a super cool culture.